Hey guys, Andy and Chad. We were just talking about the power of asking great questions. Asking great questions is super important. Obviously, most people, they train the road to the sale, they train, trial closes, they train lots of stuff, but no one really trains on questions. So me and Chad thought, let's talk about some questions, right? Because a sale can't be closed until it's opened. You know?
Good perspective.
Yeah, and a lot of people try to close something without ever opening it. I think learning question-asking abilities will make you very dangerous. So, Chad, where do you want to start with this?
I mean,
asking questions is everything. It really is. I agree with your statement. It's underestimated how important it is when it comes to sales, when it comes to things we've talked about previously, relationships, and like what happens when you ask good questions. So, A, you learn about who's in front of you. 2, you learn the real path to the sale.
I love that you learn about who's in front of you. And you said you learn the path.
The real path.
The real path. Okay, got it.
Because you can buy whatever sales book you want and it's going to tell you, well, here's the path to the sale. But that's as unique as it is a fingerprint, which you won't know anything about that unless you've asked good questions.
Because every client's different.
Right? Yeah. What else are we going to do? We're going to save time. We're going to save our time and their time. You're going to be more efficient in the process.
Time kills deals.
We're going to find out what things are important to the client, which may be quite different than the things that are important to you, as the salesperson, right? Yeah. So for me, questions are everything. I mean, do you have any favorite questions that you use regularly or?
Well, so one of the things, obviously I was in the automotive space, right? But I mean, we can go general here in a minute, but some of the questions that I used to ask, I would say like, hey Chad, have you had the opportunity to drive one of these before? And that right there led me to believe, are they at the top of the buying funnel, right? Like if they said, no, I haven't drove one. Well, that means they haven't drove one. That means they might not even really like it once they drive it. So they might be open to anything. Or they might say, yeah, I've driven 5 of them. And then, hey Chad, have you had the chance to drive one of these F-150s before? Yeah, I've drove 5. Oh, okay, cool. Then I could ask, why didn't you buy one? Just asking, why didn't you purchase one if you've driven 5 of them? Well, then you give me enough for my trade. Wow, I'm finding out like a lot of questions really quick. I didn't like the manager. My payment wasn't where I wanted. The interest rate was too high. So basically, Chad, the F-150 that you did drive, if the interest rate would have been right, you probably would have owned it. Is that correct? Okay, awesome. Man, this guy is ready to buy. Like he's at the bottom of the buying funnel, ready to pull the trigger. He's ready to go. So I would ask people, have you had the chance to drive one of these yet?
And the last sales guy dropped the ball because he probably didn't ask the right questions.
Yes, and by the way, how dumb, imagine this. Hey, Chad comes, and I'm just gonna use automotive for a minute because I lived in this space for 20 years, but the guy would come in and be like, hey, I wanna take a look at that F-150. Yeah, no problem. Hey, Chad, let me tell you about this F-150. He says, bro, I didn't even ask. Hey, Chad, no problem. I'll get the keys. Have you had the chance to drive one of these yet? Okay, cool. Hey, what did you think about it? You know what I'm saying? Is this going to be for you or for your wife? Who's going to be the primary driver? It's like I need to ask some questions because really quickly I can understand. Again, you said the real path. I love that. I've never said real in front of path. The real path, the real road to the sale is based off that customer and what's really going on really in their life. And I want to tell you, if anybody's ever in front of you, it's always an opportunity. And they would be willing to probably do something. They've made it that far to even commit to a free breakfast, right? For some golf.
Sure.
At the end of the day, they know what's going down. They know what's going down, man. Look, you got to be really good at what you do, and you got to ask questions, and you got to connect. And a lot of people used to come by, and they would want to test drive cars. They would call them tire kickers, right? They just want to come by and test drive. I took those tire kickers, and like we talked about, and I would paint the picture of man, most people come in here and they don't think they should own one of these. But the fact is, Chad, if you said you're going to wait 5-10 years until you retire, these cars, talk about Toyota Tundras. They went from $40,000 MSRP in 1 year to $50,000. That's $10,000 increase in 1 year. So if you don't want to buy one right now and they're $60,000, if you're saying you want to wait 5 years, you're going to be paying $110,000 when you finally decide to pull the trigger on one.
You're talking about remember when they were 40.
Yeah. So and by the way, if you don't like the payment at $60,000, you're gonna hate it at $110,000. And by the way, if you were going to buy one, wouldn't you buy one while you're still working and not wait till you retire? I mean, nobody wants to pay a big payment, especially $50,000 more when they're going into retirement season. Wouldn't it be smart to buy one now and then pay for it while you're retiring so you have a paid off truck free and clear when you retire? It's like it gives me an opportunity to create my own picture that I want you to see. I learned the greatest salespeople, they paint pictures for their clients to see, and basically words are godlike. So like what I say to you, like which the questions I ask, the things that you tell me, then I can use these words so that your imagination can see what I'm showing you.
You know what the difference is for me is you can tell me whatever you want to tell me, but if it's predicated based on questions you've asked me, the difference is I will listen.
That's good. Yeah.
Right? If you just talk, you can tell me you could be you could have discovered the new law of physics. I'm not going to listen, unless it's based on information that you learned from me.
It's huge, man.
And like
you make such good point.
I've never sold a car. But I'll tell you what, I had a conversation in my driveway the other night with a friend of mine. His son, he's 22 now, 23 maybe. He started selling cars, and he's doing well, in Indianapolis. And he's selling for a family lot, various different brands, and his dream's to work at Porsche. And so I asked him in my driveway, I said, well, let me ask you, how would you approach a client that walked on the lot at Porsche? And he said, well, I'd probably walk them right over to the McCanns, because that's one of the top selling, they're attainable for people. And I said, okay, cool. And then he said, well, what would you ask them? Or like, what would you do when they walked onto the lot? And I've never sold cars, like I said, but this question for me is something I would ask any client in any field to get the ball rolling, and to learn from them what I need to do for them. Okay, so in this case here, they're on the Porsche lot. I'm gonna ask them, John and Mary, look, thank you so much for coming in. I'll do all the right things, shake their hand the right way, offer them something to drink, do all the things that you can learn in traditional sales training. Okay, so I'll take care of those things. But the first thing I would do different than 99.9% of salespeople is I'd tell them, look, before we even get started today, I have one important question I need to ask you. And this question will determine or make sure that I'm taking you in the right direction and showing you the right things. Share with me what your perfect weekend would look like in your dream car with your wife, or if they were there with their wife. So walk me through what the perfect weekend would look like in your new Porsche.
I love that.
Okay, now what's the client gonna do? They're gonna be like, you know what? I wanna drive the Pacific Coast Highway, stop at Nobu and Malibu on a Sunday, and the sun's like this. And what they're gonna do, they're gonna put themselves in the picture. And with that information, I'm gonna find, okay, they want cruise in a very controlled environment. They don't need the GT3. Hey, I have one question to your story. It sounds like beautiful. I want to join you guys for that weekend. Yeah. There's one detail that I'm missing in this movie I'm watching in my head. You want to know what it is? Right. Is the wind blowing in your hair or not? Oh yeah, it is. Okay, come over here. I want to show you the Targa 4S. And they've walked me right through it. Now, with this question, they've painted the picture. I didn't paint the picture. Yeah. It's their picture. It's their movie. Now it's just up to me to make the meeting to get that car, to finish that journey. And then in the vacation space, it's the same question. John, Mary, thanks for coming in this morning. Before we even get started today, to make sure I have the right conversations with you and let you know the right information, I have one question for you. Share with me what the perfect dream vacation looks like from your perspective, from your eyes, in detail. And with that, I'm going to be able to make sure I keep keep today fun, enjoyable, efficient, and to the point. But I really want to hear what this looks like from your eyes.
It's huge, man. So good. It's not a good question. It's the best damn question I've ever heard in my life. What else you got? Chad, that was just so good.
What do you like about it? What do you think it does for
Well-
the process or for the sale? Or
Well, number one, I get to make it my idea. Okay. And by the way, like, listen, when somebody opens up and they tell you that, at the end of the day, they just resold themselves on like why this is something they need. Again, it's like reselling yourself before you even sell it. By the way, number two, all you're going to do is regurgitate what they just told you the entire time through the sale, the rest of the time, because you don't need to make up, imagine being on the race car track and no, it's going on a vacation. It's doing this. It's like you can just repeat what they said to you. And by the way, when people hear you saying the same things that they said, it makes them feel important. It makes them feel significant. It makes them feel like they matter. It makes them feel like, like they've been heard.
well, hopefully you also, as a salesperson, you give a shit about their story.
Yes.
You care about their dream weekend. Like, so I can ask at the end of the day during that process, I can like say they're not a member with us, say they're a member someplace else. I can ask them, you describe your perfect vacation looking like this. Can I ask you, does your current membership deliver that 100%? Or if they're a member, it's the same question. Does your current membership deliver that? Does it do that? And I already know, what holes have been poked in that, and I have the solutions. And now it's just about putting, the value higher than the money it's going to cost to deliver that dream. Which leads me to my next favorite question. It's a simple question, but it's something that's very important, because you have two types of prospects in any transaction, which is people that really, really, really care about money. So cost is the absolute most important thing to them. And they will have something cheap because all they care about is cost, which is fine. You need to know that as somebody that's selling something, or there's the other client, which value is the most important, which is two different things. And I like to just ask people straight out, John, Mary, there's two types of clients I see. I love both. Okay. What's the most important thing to you guys in your household? Is it cost or is it value? Would you rather have something, at the cheapest price possible, or would you rather get the most value for the money that you're parting way with?
Huge.
It's a strong question, I think. And that also,
Very well said too.
it changes how I'm going to talk about things.
Yeah. Because you're going to have people that'll say cheap. You will.
I'd rather want to know that.
Yes, exactly. And then you're going to have people say, definitely, I want to, get the best.
And then you can, I find we can go based on what that question is. And typically, we're going to be fixing a problem in our space. Either they need more vacation time, they need a better product, they need more flexibility, whatever it is. So then I can, once I found this out about, what's more important to them, value or money, then I can have a very, good talk to them about, there's obviously something to fix here. I have a solution. And now, the decision or the choice is going to come down to you on what's more painful. Having some of the issues that we've identified here today for the next 5, 6, 7 years until you choose to fix it, or parting ways with the money today. What's more painful? Because nobody planned on coming in to spend money. Yeah. So we're going to have a pain one way or the other. I came in, I have a product that's far inferior to yours. It's not working the way I want it to work. I still have to pay for it. Like, there's all these negative things with it. That's painful. Do I want to keep going when there's a solution right in front of me? Yeah. I can do it. I'm going to work out the numbers to make them work for them, right? So what's just more painful? Is it writing the check, or is it just, living a frustrated life when it comes to that product that they're dealing with?
Mm-hmm. I love it.
So for us, the questions could go on and on and on, I think.
Those are great though. Just the way that you said those first couple questions, literally every single person could use those, memorize those, learn those. You said some good word tracks that are dangerous.
I have 2 questions I want your opinion on.
Yeah.
On if they should or shouldn't be used in the process. Because I wrote these down last night and I was like, man, I'm really curious with this. So one is, if I were to ask somebody, just at some point during the process, Tell me a little bit about the 3 happiest days of your life.
That's a dangerous question. Super important. I'm gonna steal those right now.
Yeah. I thought about on the plane last night, actually, I thought about it and I was like, first of all, I want to know those things. You know, coming back to like the person in order to be liked, like you hear that from somebody, their 3 best days of their life, you're going to learn a lot about them. You know, what they considered the best days.
They're going to bring their best things to the surface, which it makes you easy to understand them from that point. Yeah.
And I think for me, I want to like the people I'm dealing with. I want to like the people I'm helping, and you'll fall in love with people based on some of these stories. Okay. So Andy approved, right? Yeah. And then the next one was, this one was delicate for me because I don't like to talk a lot. Like I don't talk often about things that relate to passing on or to death or things like that. And bucket list things sometimes has that perception, right? So just asking a client, I think it's an interesting question to ask somebody, especially if they're the baby boomer era that we were talking about earlier. You know, do you have anything on your bucket list that you haven't done yet? You know, is there anything in life that you wanted to do and you've never done?
Yeah. Again, that tells you so much about them.
Is it a fair question to ask?
Huge. Yeah. Yeah, especially if you've earned the right to ask it. They like you. Then it's like, it's a really cool question. Because like that really takes me and you to another level on our relationship after I answer that question.
And I'm hoping that they talk about it. And I think that you know that you have a winner if they turn around and say, what's on your bucket list?
It's huge. Yeah, I think these are, number one, the questions you're asking, I always say there's amateurs and there's pros. These are pro questions. Yeah, these are things that pros ask. That's absolutely a game changer.
But I think for everybody watching this, anybody can ask these questions.
Facts.
And if you're genuine about why you're asking, if you're just asking to ask, save your breath. You know, if you're asking to listen and learn, then they're great questions.
It's huge. If you're asking to ask, or if you're asking because you really want to know.
Don't ask because you were told to ask. Ask because you want to know, whether they buy or not. So.
Again, whoever cares the most wins. You got to care. Guys, we love you. Chad just dropped the heat again. You guys better be writing down all these word tracks. Lots of good stuff, man. All right, guys. See you in the next video.